What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Financial Charles, back at it again with another video. In this video, I want to talk about Bitcoin's path and Bitcoin's journey to becoming the world reserve currency. Right now, we are still so early to Bitcoin. Even when it tops at 126,000 and then crashes down to 60,000, we are still so early. Because right now, Bitcoin is still primarily seen as a store of value. And it's the best store of value because you cannot dilute its supply. It stays capped at 21 million forever. And it does a very good job at taking today's value, storing it, and then taking that value into the future without any dilution. If you stored your value in US dollars, every year it becomes less and less valuable because they continue to print more of it. Bitcoin is purely finite, so you're able to take your value into the future with no dilution. Eventually, what will happen over time is all other assets will bleed against Bitcoin because they just don't store value as well. So that's where we're at right now. We're still at the store of value phase. Eventually, every single person is going to store their value in Bitcoin, not because they want to, not because they understand it, but because it's out of necessity. Once it becomes a thing where you literally have no money to survive, you have to do what you have to do. And then in that world, you'll be seeing that Bitcoin is, it's gaining value against all other assets. All other assets bleed against Bitcoin. So once you get to that point where everyone is storing their value in Bitcoin, that is when it becomes the medium of exchange. Because if you're already by default storing your value in Bitcoin, it's just much easier for you to spend that Bitcoin directly instead of converting it into US dollars and spending that. So I went to Shake Shack and I bought, or not Shake Shack, I went to Steak and Shake yesterday and I bought a Bitcoin burger with Satoshis. I had Lightning Wallet and I just scanned the QR code and then instantly the transaction, went through. Super simple, super fast, just like a credit card. It's just super fast, super simple. And that's more efficient than converting those Satoshis back into US dollars and then spending that. So once everyone stores their value in Bitcoin, it's just much more convenient to spend the Bitcoin instead of converting it into the US dollar and then exchanging that. Money doesn't have to be what the government tells you. Money is the medium of exchange that two parties are willing to transact with. So if I'm willing to accept Bitcoin and I'm selling you something, then Bitcoin becomes the medium of exchange. Bitcoin is money. In the past, they used seashells. In the past, they used gold coins. And it's because these two transacting parties, they agree on its value. So more and more people over time will agree that, Bitcoin is valuable, this and that. So once everyone starts using it as a medium of exchange, that is when it becomes the main unit of account. And now it's the world reserve. By that, I mean, everything will now be priced in Satoshis. Right now, everything is priced in US dollars. And every year you see the prices of everything in terms of US dollar, they go up every single year due to inflation because the amount of money printing is outpacing the amount of value created. So, it just makes sense. Right now everyone is, hold on a minute, I'm just gonna leave this up. Everyone is transacting in US dollar. US dollar is the main unit of account. When you look at grocery prices, when you look at gas prices, when you look at anything, it's all priced in US dollar. Even valuable assets like stocks in the S&P 500 and houses, they're all priced in US dollar. But once Bitcoin becomes the main unit of account where people are mainly spending Bitcoin because it's easier than converting it back to US dollar, that's when everything will be listed in terms of Satoshis. So you'll see gas listed in the price of Satoshis. You'll see houses, S&P 500 listed in the price is listed in Satoshis. You know what I mean? Right now you have to, if you want to look at the Satoshi value of anything, any stock, any index fund, you have to do the index, like on TradingView, for example. You look at the S&P 500, for example, and then you divide it by Bitcoin. That's how you kind of see it. But like in the future, that's going to be the automatic default. we are no longer going to be using US dollar to be, that's not going to be the unit of account. It'll be Satoshis. And what's cool is because Bitcoin is finite and people continuously lose their Bitcoin over time, and then value continues going up in the world, over time you'll see prices go down because the unit of account is Satoshis. So every year it's like it'll cost less and less Satoshis for the same thing. When things cost less and less in terms of the unit of account, it incentivizes saving for the future. And when you incentivize saving for the future, you incentivize prioritizing the future, and you become, as a species, as a human species, you become more careful and more selective about what you are doing to the world. So right now, you look around, it's like, go look on Google Maps. The whole United States is just covered in empty parking lot. It's covered in it. And because it's a flawed system. It's incentivized to hold these empty parking lots. It's incentivized to buy up undeveloped land and develop it, even though we don't need to develop more. The thing that would make the most sense if you threw all the incentives aside is it would make more sense to just reuse and repurpose these empty parking lots. But like, imagine eventually, because this, I know this is not about Bitcoin anymore, but you're incentivizing people to turn undeveloped land into developed land, and eventually it's just going to be a world of concrete, because they don't prioritize what the future could be. They prioritize squeezing out profits now, and that's because in terms of the US dollar, because it's the unit of account, your dollars today are going to be worth more than your dollars tomorrow. So the system incentivizes you to squeeze all value out now. And that's what causes this mindset too of like, oh, you got to spend your money today. Those are the people that don't understand investing. Those are the people that, they just don't get it. And what happens is, if that is your mindset, you will forever be stuck where you're at now. You will never build. You will never build for tomorrow. And when you don't do that, you make no progress and you're just stuck on the hamster wheel. Whereas if you know for a fact that your money is going to be worth more tomorrow, it incentivizes saving, it incentivizes prioritization of the future, which is how you progress. That's how the species progresses. So I think over time, definitely, there's no doubt that Bitcoin is going to be the future unit of account. It'll be the future medium of exchange. It'll be everything, because it doesn't matter what the normies think. The normies can hate on Bitcoin all they want. At the end of the day, the people that actually know what's going on, they continuously buy Bitcoin and hold it forever. So if you think about it, those are the forever hodlers. So all the Bitcoin, let's say they get paychecks every 2 weeks, all the money, all the US dollars that enter their hands and they convert it into Bitcoin every 2 weeks, they hold that Bitcoin. And if they're going to hold it for the long term, you're pretty much taking liquidity out. So as time goes on, there are more and more forever hodlers. More and more people convert and they understand Bitcoin. So like today, there are way more forever hodlers today than there were 10 years ago. And these forever hodlers, because they keep on buying the Bitcoin and holding it, they're essentially black holes to the Bitcoin supply. And over time, there are more and more black holes. And they have more and more US dollar, but there's less and less Bitcoin available to buy. So over time, there's less Bitcoin available to buy, but an ever increasing demand for Bitcoin. So that causes Bitcoin price to go up. And it'll outpace the growth of all other assets. So people that want to survive will eventually have to store their value in Bitcoin. Again, not because they understand it, not because they like Bitcoin, but because they have to. They have no choice. And then once it gets to that point, it's just easier to exchange Satoshis directly instead of converting it back to the US dollar and all that. And then boom, it becomes the unit of account. Everything gets priced in Satoshis. But that's where I think the future is going to go. And sometimes I think, like, are we way too early for this? Like, is this not going to happen until we're all dead? But it happens slowly, then suddenly. Slowly, then suddenly. So I told myself, you know, I'm gonna keep on making videos in the bear market, so here I am making more videos. The thesis has not changed. Every 2 weeks, I still get paid and I still convert everything into Satoshis. I've been doing this since 2020. It's been 6 years. And what I really love about the subject of Bitcoin is that it's the most interesting subject in the world. It combines economics, finance, computer science, geopolitics, philosophy, like all in one. It's all of those subjects in one. It's the coolest thing to talk about, and each year I understand Bitcoin more and more. Like, I understood it already very well in 2021, which is why I went all in. But every single year you learn something new about Bitcoin, and you just understand it more. You see it through a new lens. So yeah, and eventually everyone will go through this phase. So it's inevitable. I think Bitcoin is an inevitability. All right, guys, I'm at the Fiat Mines now, so I gotta stop recording. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll be making more videos. I'll see you in the next video.